Good morning, everyone. It's Scott from Limitless, and welcome to the latest podcast of High Performance Habits. I am thrilled today to be having, and I actually am thrilled. I know I sounded like I was in my voice, but I really am, is to be having Nathalie Plamondon-Thomas, who otherwise now will be called Nathalie P for broadcast of time constrictions. And Nathalie's expertise is in mindset. She calls herself a dentist for the mind, and certainly, helping get a mindset proper for us in the entrepreneurial world is absolutely huge on a daily basis. So, Nathalie, welcome to High Performance Habitudes.
Thank you, Scott, for inviting me to your podcast. I'm excited.
Well, it took a while in your busy schedule because I know you're very, very active. Nathalie does an incredible amount of work, with Women for Success in the business world, and she is a professional speaker as well. So we feel very fortunate. So let's sort of dive right into it. Nathalie, we've got two audiences that generally listen to our podcast, and the first one I want to address is those who are contemplating entrepreneurship and have just started, perhaps, and have left a career that a lot of their personal identity, rightly or wrongly, is built around. So they were a VP, they were a person of importance in a previous career, and now they are going into the entrepreneurial world without that company behind them. They are exposed on the field, so to speak. What are some of the challenges that, in working with your clients that you've seen them come across, and what have you suggested for them?
So the first thing we want to know is when somebody starts something new, whatever it is, even the very first time that you do anything, the very first time you received a smartphone, more likely you wanted to revert to your flip phone because it was so much more comfortable. But there was no going back. So you pushed through, and then you learned how the new smartphone was working because I didn't want to go back to my flip phone myself. So somehow we figure it out. And the career that maybe you used to have and that importance, the reason why sometimes we're very attached to it is because we identified ourselves with this. It was not just a behavior. It was not just like, oh, I'm brushing my teeth. It was, I am a VP. And you totally identify yourself. And when you lose a portion of yourself, then your identity gets a little bit, not jeopardized, but you're losing a portion of who you are. So you want to...
At this age too, if I could, it's also ego. I mean, a lot of us could be in our 40s, 50s, and 60s. There's this ego that, we take less risk as life comes on. So now all of a sudden it's sort of like, not that I just have to learn something new, but my gosh, I could fail.
I could fail. That's the thing. It's that fear. And fear comes in just like any other negative emotion. And it kind of makes us a little bit wobbly. And all of a sudden you start having anxiety over it. And then you don't sleep at night. And then you worry about stuff because it's not clear enough in your mind. And all you're doing at the beginning is a little behavior. And then you're trying to get good at stuff because all of a sudden you don't have your secretary and then the web guy and then that person like those in big companies, everything is taken care of. But when you're an entrepreneur, you need to be good at filing your own stuff and at figuring out how to work on your website. And even if it has nothing to do with what it is that you're an entrepreneur for. So it's hard and it's not comfortable. And we're very much afraid of the unknown very often. So when you do something for the first time, what you want to repeat in your head is, I've learned a lot worse than that. I've done a lot harder than this. I am good at learning and I'm resourceful. I'm smart. I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
So those are the only things you want to repeat to yourself. Because when you tell yourself something, you've got a little personal assistant in your head that's going to make it happen. So no, you don't have that paid personal assistant you used to have that followed you around with a notepad, but you have a much more powerful one inside your brain that is taking notes. So if you get up in the morning and say, oh my gosh, I look so tired. It's going to be so stressful today. I'm rushing everywhere all the time. Then your assistant writes down, tired, stressed out, rushing everywhere, anxiety, all the things that you think of. And your personal assistant makes it happen because that personal assistant delivers every time.
Yeah. So, that now we're talking about bandwidth issues, because if I happen to be an engineer and I'm, I have a narrow bandwidth, I work on engineering projects. Now I'm an entrepreneur. And, I have to wear that 30-year-old book of the 56 hats of an entrepreneur. I'm sales, I'm legal, I'm HR kind of stuff. And so it's not just selling and producing a product. It's all the ancillary, the extra departments that I now have to take care of. So, should an entrepreneur try to take care of that all themselves? You use the words, you'll figure it out. Rather than doing it yourself, are there any other strategies so that, you can reduce the amount of things that you actually have to do yourself?
Absolutely. So one, you absolutely need to delegate, and you need to find people, and there's lots of resources now that are inexpensive online. What can be done by somebody else? So what are the things that you can do yourself? And at the beginning, very often we don't have the cash flow in order to hire 20 people. So you want to choose specifically little tasks that can be done, the things that you absolutely hate doing, the things that you have zero idea, or maybe you just need a course on it. Maybe you just need a few skills and you'll be able to do it.
So what do you outsource? Just if I can ask within your company, because Nathalie's got a very robust company and she's out presenting every weekend. She does, a lot of workshops and she does a lot of volunteer work. You can't do it all yourself. So what have you chosen to outsource?
Okay, so I have somebody that does social medias for me. Just I do post my own post on one platform. Somebody takes it and copies it for me on LinkedIn and Instagram and Twitter and all the other platforms. And she also posts the daily, you have to have kind of a daily post somehow. So she does that for me. I also have a web engineer that does all that. And I do have some people that do some marketing graphic for me.
Yes.
I'm a writer, so I've got 7 books and I'm writing 3 more in parallel. So I have an editor that does the editing of the books for me, and a publisher.
Tell those listening to the podcast, don't try to write 3 books and grow a business at the same time. Nathalie is superhuman. You'd have that incredible amount of energy to do that. This is all about best habits, not superhuman habits. But okay, so I'm catching some of what you're doing there in the outsourcing piece. The other part of our audience that's happening here is folks who are in.
Can I just add something in the outsourcing?
Yeah.
Because my number one response is I outsource all my thinking to my personal assistant. So the thinking, it's that part, the worrying, the stressing. 92% of our stress is for nothing at all. So this is what I outsource, because my unconscious mind, our brain is the most complex structure in the universe, and it can do so many things at once, 2.3 million pieces of information every second. So whenever something happens, or I have to write an article or a chapter in my book, or I have to get something doing, or if I'm an engineer, I have to come up with this plan, I outsource this to my personal assistant and I say, okay, while I sleep tonight, why don't you come up with my full article for me, or the plan for this building? Or why don't you do that while I do
that for me?
Your personal assistant will do it for you. You all have one.
Can't remember where I put my glasses 5 minutes ago.
Because you're trying to think with your logical mind.
Oh.
Your logical mind can't think about that, because your logical mind can do 5 to 9 things at a time.
Oh, okay.
It gets overwhelmed very quickly. Your unconscious mind, your brain is the most complex structure in the universe. It can do this.
Okay.
And it's bored because you're never asking your personal assistant to do anything for you. I get them to pack before I go on a business trip. Before I go, I say, okay, you know where I'm going. You know what are my favorite clothes. You know what I usually pack. Why don't you do that for me? So as soon as I open my suitcase, it's going to take me 15 minutes and I'll grab exactly what I wanted to.
And again, for the audience here, some experts that you have on, you hear on podcasts, they're theoretical experts. Nathalie is a practical expert. I've seen her at her shows and everything. Everything is meticulously arranged and organized. And so what she's saying has to be true, because nobody could manage as much as you do without having some sort of plug-in, which in this case is your personal assistant.
So you have to use it. You have to use it. It's insane the amount of stuff that can be done, because the hardest part is to think about it and figuring things out. And if you trust that, gosh, you've got so much power in your brain. And if you stop worrying, because 40% of the stuff that you worry about, that you use your mind for, is never going to happen. You're making it up. And 30% has already happened. It's done. It's over. And 12% is some miscellaneous. Oh, I have a sore knee today, a sore back. And so we're now at all, like if I keep going with these numbers, we'll add up to 92% of the space we use to use our brain for nonsense. So you really want to start using your brain to be productive. Think about it. You've got a brain, and then you use it 92% of the time for things that are total waste.
Mm-hmm. And you're talking to me. Thank you so much. I thought I was a little bit better than that, but obviously I am.
When I say you, I'm speaking.
You're listening to Scott's podcast where he only uses 8% of his brain.
And I should say we, because I'm talking to me as well. We're all the same. We're all the same. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. So, and using that 8% of our brain and knowing that we can increase that percentage, the other part of our audience are folks, Nathalie, who are have their businesses and could be first year, fifth year, 10th year, and are looking to optimize and grow and expand so they can serve others, have greater profitability. Perhaps it's a lifestyle choice that they want to have, but they're encountering obstacles, and one of the obstacles that I see on a consistent basis is the lack of willingness and confidence, and you'll have different terms for it, is to go out and do business generation, to go out and meet new clients. They're very good at taking clients who come into them, who want them, because there's no personal or little personal risk to do that. But from a sales perspective and any other perspectives you think are relevant, what would your thoughts be or advice be for entrepreneurs who are in the trenches but struggling, in a couple of key areas?
The first thing that we want to know about sales, and let's talk about this specifically, is you can never generate money in your business without sales. So it's absolutely, it's necessary for every business. And very often, because of our background, because of how we grew up, because of experiences we had with pushy salesperson or whatever it is, we've developed so much and so many limiting beliefs around sales or around money. So there are lots of limiting beliefs that we have. And until we switch those limiting beliefs are placing orders to our personal assistant. And if we always think, I hate approaching people, I don't want to be pushy, I don't want to be seen as a car salesman, or I don't want to be so all these things, all these limiting beliefs. And what about money? I will always live paycheck to paycheck, because when you start making more, you spend more, and you always live paycheck to paycheck. The first of the month or whenever you receive your Visa bill is always a nightmare. You hate bills. So these are all limiting beliefs. And unless you get to start having a great, beautiful relationship with sales and money and get excited about, oh my gosh, yay, it's time to sell. I'm excited. Because what we're doing, we're not selling, we're serving. Mm-hmm. It's like selling is not hard. It's rewarding. You are awesome. You've got such a great product to offer or a great service, and somebody can benefit from it. And yet you have a bad relationship with the fact that you have to offer it.
I know. And I find that so many people have the baggage of what sales used to be. And it's so important, isn't it, to have that mindset. You're a solution provider. If I do my job well and you and I interact, I am helping you. You are going to feel better for that interaction. And we have to let go of all the bad instances that we've had. I mean, I'm not a coffee drinker, but I know a lot of people, they've had a couple of bad cups of coffee. They go on and they try new coffee until there's something that actually works for them, that actually, enhances their day. Maybe coffee is a bad example because I don't drink it, but the idea is you can't take the stereotypical example of a salesperson, stamp it on yourself and go, that's me. Because you got into your business because you want to serve, that you have a passion for something. And you know what? If somebody, they're never really saying no to you, are they?
No, they're saying no to your service or to what it is that you had to offer, or maybe it's not the right timing for them at this time. And then you can ask again later, you know. There's no need for us to see sales as something negative. It's the best thing ever. It means that somebody is going to get their life transformed because of you. Mm. This is awesome. We shouldn't be shying away from that. Maybe there's skills, maybe there's tricks, maybe there's ways that you can get better at, and when you're good at it, it comes and flows naturally, and then eventually you're getting more. You have the habitudes, let's say, you have the habit of doing it naturally. So when you have the right attitude and the correct habit, that's how Scott calls the habitudes. At that time, you do it flawlessly, and you see people sometimes selling something, and you're totally feeling that they're not selling you because they've listened to your needs. So if you listen to what it is that the person wants, and then you adapt exactly to what they want, and you listen to them first, you're never going to be pushing a solution down their throat. You're listening to what it is that you can help them with. Ask a lot of questions. So there's lots of tricks. I do teach a seminar called Think Yourself a Sales Pro. And Scott and I are actually writing the book right now, Think Yourself a Sales Master.
Yes.
And there will be lots of tips and tricks. But all the tips in the world are not going to do anything for you if every day you continue to believe that when you make more money, you will still live paycheck to paycheck. And then prosperity is for others. And then you'll never be rich. If you don't change these beliefs, no tip in the world is going to help you sell more.
So let's help. I haven't talked to you about this question, so I think it's a fair question. So I'm hoping you're willing to just take it.
Oh, yeah.
Ad lib one here. A lot of people live paycheck to paycheck because they don't have a long-term vision for what their business is going to be. And that's where I'd like to finish off our discussion, our chat here is entrepreneurs do live paycheck to paycheck, month to month, with the hopes of hitting that 50% revenue goal this year, increasing profitability, increasing the number of people they serve. And that year after year, a lot of the times the results are less than delightful for them. And when I take a look at a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't have a long-term vision of what their business could be. 3 years from now, I want to have A, B, C, and D done. I want to be having this many products. I want to be serving this many people. Why is my personal assistant not creating that plan for me, to use your words?
Very often we placed the wrong order. I'll give you the analogy of the waiter at the restaurant. So we're sitting at the restaurant, we're looking at the menu, and then what we should do is say, oh, this looks really good, I'm going to order that. So that the waiter would go to the kitchen, the chef would make you the meal. If it doesn't have all the ingredients, we'll make sure that he goes buy all the ingredients he needs, and then he will deliver you that meal. If you look at the menu and you say, chicken stir fry, I don't know how to make that. Oh, I can't order that then because I don't know how to make it. Oh, what about this meal here? Pierogies. I've never made that before. I don't know how to make that. I can't order this. Oh, I have this vegetable stir fry or salad or whatever. I don't know how to make that. I can't order this either. And that's the problem. We start having our vision, and then we start thinking, okay, I would like to see myself with 25 employees, or I want to be international. I want to have this grandiose head office. I want to serve so many people. I want to have 1 million people finding their life or life purpose or whatever. As soon as we start thinking about our goals, we don't place the order because we think, well, that's way too big for me. Well, I have news for you. When you look at your menu and you place your order, when you say, this is what I want, and then you start being precise with it, of course, you've all done the SMART goal and the list. So when you do it, you want to start believing into it, because if you have a glance at it in your brain, if you can even think of it or imagine it for a second, it means it's on your menu. And do you think, Scott, that when you go to the restaurant, that the chef knows exactly how to make the stuff that's on the menu?
I'm hoping
more
so.
Likely, because you don't have to know how to make the stuff when you order at the restaurant, do you? It's the same thing for your business. If you can dream it, you don't have to know how to make it, because the waiter is going to run to the kitchen, and your personal assistant, your chef, is going to find all the ingredients for it. It's going to place you at the right place at the right time. It's going to make you listen to this podcast. It's going to make you buy this course that you need. It's going to put you in the elevator at the right place at the right time. We're going to meet that person, and it's going to make it happen because you will have placed the order. So it would go get all the ingredients to serve you your meal.
I just had a penny drop, and pennies aren't made anymore, but I still had a penny drop. And, you know, the cover of this podcast is me with Micah the tiger. And I made that order to my personal assistant 30 some odd years ago, where I wanted to work with wildlife. I had never done it before. I knew nothing about it. But over a period of 6 to 9 months, I went out and got all the ingredients to make it happen. And when you just said that, it just struck home that, you know what, if I can learn to work with tigers, owls, snakes, lions, all that kind, and still survive and have all my fingers and my brains, then it does work. Thank you. It never had clicked for me that way before.
You placed your order.
I placed my order, and I think I have to take my personal assistant off the unemployed list, because I just realized how powerful that is. Nathalie, if folks wanted to, you know, get in touch, and I know you've got some videos here, do you mind if I direct them to your website to see those videos?
Oh, absolutely. You go to thinkyourself.com. Think Yourself is my brand. So I've got Think Yourself Thin, Think Yourself Successful, Think Yourself a Sales Pro, Think Yourself Wealthy. So thinkyourself.com. You can download the 5 keys to self-confidence in the shop section. I have lots of different tools you can use. I have balance wheels that you can use to, and then there's those videos, the 3 videos on the causes of self-sabotage and why we do it. So you can go look for that on my website.
I think I'm going to go look at those myself. I think that'd be well worthwhile. On behalf of the entire audience here, Natalie, I want to thank you very much for your time here. It's been an outstanding conversation. And if we invited you back in the future, would you be open to that?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
You see, guys, there's a sales technique going on already. All right. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you next time. Cheers.